I've received a few comments regarding the space you're looking at right now. Some people have actually called it a studio. The truth is, it's really just our living room. Although honestly, the idea of calling it the gentleman's study is really kind of growing on me. We've talked a lot about my evident love of Victorian aesthetics and European design. We love shiny things too, and of course, all things pop culture. But one of the principal inspirations Lady Wake and I had since the beginning when we were designing this area was the desire to explore texture. We wanted this space to feel warm and inviting and cozy and not just look it. The velvet couch, the faux fur throws, smooth wood, cold marble, soft leather, an exploration of all things tactile. The goal was true sensory immersion from the second you walked in the door. The deck collection we're going to talk about in this episode manages to combine many of those same design philosophies my wife and I tried so hard to adhere to. In fact, even the collection's name, the Apothecary 2 Intimate Handcrafted Playing Cards, implies a feeling of texture, and I can't help imagining an apothecary chest filled with lavender petals and scented oils, flickering candles, and crushed dyes. Designer Alex Chin challenged himself to create decks that really appeal to as many senses as possible, and by many metrics he's been very successful. But before we get into the details, I want to welcome back our viewers. Thank you guys for all the support and for really helping me try to make this channel the go-to place for cinematic card reviews. And for those of you who are new, we've got a great episode and much more in store, and we hope you'll consider subscribing. Also, there's a contest and a prize winner to announce at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. Additionally, I'm excited to announce the upcoming launch of the Gentleman Wake Patreon page, which honestly will feature some really cool rewards for fans and community members who want to support what we're doing here on this channel. That's coming really soon, and I'll be keeping everyone updated. Okay, so finally, let's get to the cards. The Apothecary Series 2 decks are more a continuation of a line than a sequel. The original Apothecary playing cards were launched successfully via Kickstarter and featured multiple editions of varying rarity of two standard decks: the Illuminating Inverno Insights and the Purified Primavera Ponderings decks, with Inverno being Italian for winter and Primavera meaning spring, a direct callback to Alex Chin's Seasons playing cards. Launched in January of 2018, the Kickstarter campaign for the subsequent summer and fall entries in the collection, the Vital Verona Virtues and the Soothing Seronda Sentiments decks, was a shattering success, funding almost immediately and totaling a staggering $184,000 in crowdfunding by the time the funding period had closed. To date, the third most successful playing card campaign ever launched on Kickstarter. All of the cards in the series are printed by the United States Playing Card Company. All four decks are very similar visually, as you would expect for a collection, and this holds true for the tuck cases and cards as well as the multiple editions available. For the purposes of this review, we're going to concentrate on the Sentiments and Virtues decks and the different options surrounding them. The standard decks come packaged in wonderfully handcrafted embossed tuck cases featuring floral patterns in dark earthy tones printed on matte black backgrounds. The raised floral patterns vary from deck to deck, with the Sentiments deck featuring what looks like lilies and roses being the focal point of the Virtues deck. The patterning on the boxes is a slightly reworked version of the card backs found on the cards within. There's a black band that wraps around one side of each box that presents the edition name in metallic foil, a symbol representing each deck, and some ad copy written to mimic the directions you might find on a bottle of massage oil or hand soap, all encased within a foil border. To be honest, the packaging reminds me of high-quality bathworks or a luxury fragrance box. I have expected the boxes to smell like potpourri when I scratched at them. Aside from the embossing of the floral pattern, the cardstock also has a linen-like texture that further accentuates the premium vibe. The bottom and top of the boxes include some additional foil lettering and copy, including the Seasons Playing Cards logo and designer Alex Chin's name. Additionally, Alex offered Black Label Private Batch Reserve editions of the two decks, which include an artist-signed and numbered matte card sleeve with raised metallic detailing. Gold for the Virtues deck, silver for the Sentiments deck. The main feature on the front of both is a large monogram logo for Seasons playing cards, done in the style of metal plate etching. These were limited only to customers who pledged for the decks on Kickstarter, as was the last and final options for the decks, the White Label Private Batch Reserve. Featuring virtually identical sleeves to the Black Label, the White Label editions differ in one significant way. I know I joked earlier about feeling like these tuck cases might be scratch and sniff, but the White Label editions do in fact offer a level of tactile interactivity that I've never encountered before on a deck of cards. Under the sleeves, the tuck boxes feature patented thermal responsive inks that literally change color with the application of heat. While the warmth of your hand is enough to lighten the shade of purple on the Sentiments deck into violet and turn the orange of the Verona deck into yellow, I experimented with an expelled camera battery still warm to the touch, and the effect was even more pronounced. And although the standard and Black Label Sentiments and Virtues tuck cases include the same decks within, the White Label deck includes one additional feature that elevates the deck from premium to luxury, but we'll get into that a little later. Regarding the cards inside the boxes, the collection revolves around two main choices, either white cards or black ones, with the decks representing spring and summer being white and the ones representing fall and winter featuring black stock. The two-way card backs for each deck are of course different and unique to each, but faces, indices, pips, and court card designs, although completely custom, are shared assets found throughout all four decks. The Sentiments deck features a primarily purplish tone design on the black cardstock with a white framework of intricate lines. The Virtues deck revolves around a large burgundy red rose surrounded in leafy scrollwork encased within a white poker border. The index font for the decks is unique and serifed. The pips, although instantly recognizable, have an odd shape to them that feels slightly asymmetrical. The bulbs of the club pips are inconsistently sized, and the diamonds are an especially unique shape, with concave lines and a bottom-heavy distribution that almost presents the illusion of three-dimensionality. It's worth noting that each deck in the collection has a different power ace, which is a nice touch and another incentive to get all four. The court cards feature the same framing border found on the card backs. The design of the court members is Renaissance inspired and instantly reminds me of the period costumes of Zeffirelli's Romeo and Juliet. In fact, the King and Queen of Spades definitely give me a star-crossed lovers vibe, with the hearts and diamonds giving me Montague and Capulet tones. The Jack of Spades could easily pass for the Friar, the Club Jack looks like Tybalt. However, the most glaring resemblance, and the one that I could not unsee after making the initial connection, was the Jack of Hearts. Who knew Chuck Norris had been an upstanding member of Fair Verona? Romeo's up. In all seriousness, the courts are nice and in my opinion look better on the black cardstock. This is due in part to what I think is an overuse of drop shadow. Watching the behind the design videos posted by Alex Chin on his campaign, I wish he'd stopped just short of applying these shadows altogether, as I think the line work was strong enough to live on its own. All the decks include a double backer and a Seasons ad card that includes a medallion style version of the monogram logo. Finally, the jokers with all four decks feature different items you might find in an Apothecary's chest, an urn, a mill and mortar on the first series, and a bottle and scale with the last two decks. Being a Libra, I'm partial to the scales. The cards are modern cut and they feel like a slightly thicker premium casino stock. They handle well enough, fan spread, the springs are snappy, and although they aren't the most modern geometrical design favored by cardists these days, they do look good in a flourish, even though cardistry is definitely not the intended purpose. In fact, the White Label includes one more feature that in my opinion should preclude it from use in any fashion other than perhaps basic, if gentle, gameplay, for no reason other than the fact that it might be too beautiful to shuffle. The White Label Verona deck shines with a wonderful copper orange tone, and my favorite, the Sentiments deck, is hand gilded in glimmering purple. For science sake, I tested the handling of these cards, and as is the case with pretty much every gilded deck I've ever tried, I definitely don't recommend you fan or faro these cards much, despite how beautiful they may look in a bloom. The decks are just now starting to ship out to the Kickstarter backers who pledged for them, and if you're late to the party, some of the standard versions are sure to show up at playing card retailers like playingcarddex.com. eBay will likely be the best spot to find some of the harder to find private batch reserve decks, but if you want a chance to win one of these Apothecary decks,
from me. I'm giving away 3 different winners. 1 Sentiment, 1 Virtue, and 1 Inverno. And here's what you have to do for the chance to win. Like this video, be subscribed to this channel, and comment below with your favorite meme based on the famous 80s action star I mentioned in this review. It doesn't have to be my favorite meme, just your favorite. Finally, congratulations to Sir Maurizio Differenze, I hope I said that right, Maurizio, for winning the Sub Rosso playing cards. Contact me to claim your prize. Alright guys, sorry for the epically long video, I just had a lot to cover. I hope you'll join me for the next one, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified every time I post a new video. Special thanks to Alexander Chin for supplying these cards and for the awesome t-shirt. Thank you very much, Alex. I've been the Gentleman Wake. See you next time.
But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? I know, it's my fist.